I have earlier talked about how women can be bad. Some types of women, anyway, for men. So now, just because I don't want any woman to think that I am, a misogynist or something else like that, God forbid, I want to say something about the, you know, just talk about when men don't really appreciate their women and how to know for a woman how to be able to tell when her husband, let's say, or serious boyfriend doesn't really respect her or appreciate her. I mean, it is obvious. I have learned from my years of experience talking to other men online and also a little bit in real life, but mostly online, about this. Yeah, I mean, there's so much. I don't even know how to put it. So many men aren't really interested in what's inside, in what's here in a woman, inside her heart, inside her personality. Some men are only interested in what's on the outside, and you know they are interested in what's inside her body, yeah, for sure. But what's inside the soul, what the unseen part, invisible part, let's put it. Too many men are. They pretend. They will pretend they are interested, but they are not. That really kind of disgusts me, because for instance, I'm not now trying to say yeah, but yeah, it's true. I'm not trying to make myself look better, but it's true. I've always been interested in the women I have dated or have had more serious relationships, let's say, with. I have always been interested in their personalities and this, because for me, just using a woman for sex, I mean, come on, how low does it get? Yeah, sure, if it's a one night stand, I can understand, but you are actually dating this girl, this woman, and the only thing you can think of is, when are we gonna have sex? Like, does she have her period? Can I bang her tonight? And when they don't get it, they can get really pissy, really in a bad mood also. Yeah, I mean, one must have understanding because the man is, well, man, man's body does crave sex more than a women's. That's what I heard anyway. So, yeah, I think so, probably. And, but still, that's the problem, yeah. I think that is the problem. It's so hard for a man also to stay. I think it's harder for a man to stay, you know, faithful than a woman. It's easier for a man to cheat than for a woman, definitely, unless that woman is very promiscuous. But actually, if you look at it from a different perspective, there are far more promiscuous men than women, and when a woman is a promiscuous, especially this was the case in the older days, she's almost looked upon as some sort of a whore, While a man, yeah, like, yeah, he's a man. He's gotta, he's gotta have sex. Like, it's such a double standard and hypocrisy, definitely. And yeah, so even though, yeah, today we have many promiscuous. I mean, today it seems a little bit more in for a woman to be promiscuous, definitely, than it used to be 30 or 40 or 50 years ago, especially. And yeah, so that's that's that part. All right, a woman should tell or should be able to tell that her man isn't respecting her, isn't appreciating her for herself, for her inner qualities. When, well, of course, this goes especially. I mean, when you're in a marriage, especially for several years, sometimes you don't talk that much anymore. But still, if a woman is trying to engage her husband or wife, I mean, in a conversation, and he's just there to read, watching TV or whatever, reading newspapers or whatever, and he's just, no, not now, I'm busy, and this is an ongoing, repeating pattern. That means the guy isn't interested to talk to her unless when he really has to. And yeah, there you have it. There's one very common sign. And yeah, so another sign is, well, of course, this is also very common. I mean, when a man doesn't really spend much time with his woman, with his wife or fiance or girlfriend, and the excuse is always the same: work. Yeah, but most people don't work after 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. What excuse do you have, like 8 o'clock in the evening or 9? It's like, oh, I'm so tired, I don't know. And yeah, but you still, people, men often come home much later than they are supposed to after work. And that is because they would rather hang out in these silly, sleazy bars, talking shit, shooting the breeze with their pals, rather than coming home earlier and spend time with their wives, right? All right, this goes especially for marriage, but sometimes also in a longer relationship, especially when they live together. Yeah, this applies to those kind of scenarios. It doesn't apply to a rather fresh new relationship, when the two are just dating, they're not living together. So yeah, men who would rather spend time with some, jackass out there just because they are also men. That's the only thing they have in common, that they are men. All are the same sex, right? Same gender. So they all nag and, yeah, my wife made me go to that, opera or cinema to watch that silly movie and blah 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 blah, and because everybody loves to complain. That's natural. That's natural. Everybody likes to complain about their spouses. Women do that. I mean, oh yeah, for sure. They complain about their husbands to other women. But the thing is, when a man doesn't really pay much attention, doesn't spend enough time with his wife, or maybe fiance even, but especially in marriage this is common. Of course, what happens then? Can you guess it? What is the woman very likely to do then? She is gonna seek comfort with another man, right? Who will listen to her? Who will spend enough time with her and yeah. So yeah, that's another thing is when men don't listen to their women. That's also a big problem. I mean, it's a very common problem as well. Yeah. So, but I mean, I guess you know all this. I guess there's no point in me telling you this now. But people think. However, yeah, another thing is that if a man, a husband, is very devoted to his wife, caring, loving, he is often ridiculed by other men that he knows for being, whatever, for being too soft, too meek, whatever. He's those men are even called cocks. I understand today that is very wrong. So they are the ones that get ridiculed and called weak men. And but in reality, they are not weak. They just really love their wives and are good men. They are as men should be. Yeah, but people who spend more time in some whatever goddamn bar or some place like that, than at home with the women and children, with their women and children, they are not the right kind of man. Definitely, that's not what a good man is supposed to be like. All right, there's a difference between spending some time with your friends, quality time, and spending too much time with your friends and too with your wife and children also. Yeah, I mean, let me put it that way. My father maybe. I mean, it's not like he never really spent time with my mother and me and my brother. But yeah, there were times that I wished that he was home more, definitely. But he was fond of going, to the bar, hanging out with his friends and shooting the breeze and yeah. But fortunately, he didn't really drink much because he couldn't handle it. His system was not very receptive for alcohol and not very immune, let's call it. And so he rarely got drunk because he couldn't take it. That was a good thing, and that's another thing that is bad when men get drunk too often and they come home a mess. They throw up, they yell, shout, they are abusive to their wives and even children sometimes, of course. Of course, that is one of the most common reasons for why a woman will leave her husband, a wife. Yes. And it's only right. I mean, they very often promise, oh, I will stop, I promise, just don't leave me. But then when the woman gives in and, gives them another shot, they most often blow it because it's stronger than them. It's a lifestyle, right? And as long as you are not really like an alcoholic or like who really needs help, then you will not stop drinking. Yeah, of course. There are people who can drink, they can get drunk, but they don't have to, but they want to. That's the big, that's the big difference. So, yeah, I mean, but the worst part of man, this is the last part, is the dominant, the dominant husbands or male partners who are control freaks who have to have all the control in their house. They won't see the, you know, one little piece of it to their wives. They are in control of all the money, all the finances, all everything. And yeah, they will. They don't listen. They don't want to listen to their wives when they try to, weigh in on their problems. They to give advice. They won't listen. They, just yeah, they just shoo them away. Like what can you tell me that I don't know already? There's the very arrogant attitude, that sadly quite many men have. Yeah, like yeah, she's a woman. How can she know anything better than I? Something that I don't know. It's impossible, right? That's what they think. But maybe, I mean, often they turn out to be wrong. Yeah, proven wrong pretty often. The most cocksure and confident men usually are that because actually they aren't really that clever. They just need to feel, I guess, that clever. I don't. And so, yeah, men who don't respect their wives, men who don't listen to their wives, men who don't listen, who don't want, who shush their wives instead of listening, letting them speak their piece. Those men are to blame for unhappy marriages and divorces, and of course. So that was it. There you have it. Yeah. So of course now the society has changed, but this still exists. This does exist, of course, and will exist always. So yeah, so that's it, I guess. Man, women must not. Some too many women, I guess, fall in love too early, too easily. Sometimes for a guy, maybe he looks good, he talks smooth, he's charming, and kind of has maybe gentlemanly manners. But as soon as they are married, he pretty much shows a different side pretty quickly. Yeah, trust me. I know I mean, I had certain, instances, well, one anyway, in my family, I guess in my closer family, yeah, where woman was actually under total control by her husband. And we later found out that whenever they were out somewhere together visiting people, he never let her talk, really never let her talk much, and he shut her up always, and that was terrible. But fortunately, she got out eventually of that abusive marriage. Yeah, so that's why I take this pretty seriously. Yeah, all right, take it easy and be clever, women.